I use my barrel to write.
Welcome back, guys. So sorry for that break, but we're back now. I need everyone to just confirm that you can hear me clearly. All right, so sorry for that. We have to fix one or two things. Okay, so welcome back. We have to talk about this. This is an important topic, as usual. I say that all the time. All right, remember I have here with me Dr. Agude Godwins. All right, and we'll be talking about how much do you intend to spend on your wedding. All right, I'm just waiting for you guys to join. Sorry for that break. Those of us on YouTube, all right, we're waiting for you guys. We are back now. All right, I can see us joining. Welcome, guys. God bless you. God bless you. Welcome. Yeah, the topic is as important as what we must talk about. All right, so this is Dr. Godwin. Dr. Godwin, we are back. Sorry for that interruption. So I was telling you the other time that now we have some young men that are actually ready to marry. Okay, and they've been in their relationships, some of them 2 years, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and you ask them, what exactly is going on? Why have you not tied the knot and all those things? And they keep telling you their salary is like too small and they're making savings. When can they get there? So right, so I'm of the opinion that how can they make do with what they have? You know, it could be like a little beginning, but is it not possible? At least from your experiences. You know, I told you earlier that he's married. He's been married for over 6 years, you know, and with kids. He's a young man. He's experienced and he has met people. All right.
Well, I would like to say that one of the few things I found out to be very important and very necessary for having a good wedding, not marriage now, a good wedding, is that there is a budget on ground.
Okay.
And I think for anyone that wants to get married,
okay,
a young man or a young woman, one of the first things that should be considered is what is my budget.
What is my the budget for the ceremony?
Yes.
Okay. Now you must be able to understand that the wedding is the ceremony.
Yeah.
Okay. It's different from the marriage itself. Yeah. All right. So take note of that. Okay.
So having said that, and I think my budget is going to be according to what I earn.
Okay.
I usually say to people not to plan their lives on promissory notes. In other words, if your uncle said, I'm going to give you 150,000 for your wedding, and you have budgeted your life around what your uncle promises, there could be the human factor that could terminate the possibility of the fulfillment of that promise. So the first thing I do is to look out for what I earn as a person, myself. So for any man who is planning, a woman who is planning to go into marriage, I feel strongly that you should take the matter of budget very important, and the budget has to do with your earning capacity. If I earn, let's say 50,000 naira per month, and I've been in a relationship for the past 2-3 years.
Okay.
From the point I got into the relationship,
okay,
I should think about the day when I have to go to the altar or go to the registry or go to the anywhere to get married.
Yes.
I will begin to put some amount of money aside for the day that I'm planning.
Okay.
But if I've been in a relationship for the past 2 years, I have not budgeted for wedding. So when the wedding is 3 months to the time, I begin to run around and call on my uncles, and people start switching off their phones on me. It's actually a proof that I never had a plan in the beginning. So I feel strongly that importantly for anyone that is contemplating getting married, he or she should begin to think about the budget for the wedding. Okay. That is the point.
You know, and you know what I also got from what you just explained now. Now, a young man has proposed, and he got the consent.
Yes.
Congratulations. Now, at the point of getting the consent, it means a relationship starts officially, you know,
yes.
and at that moment, because it's a relationship that you're planning towards marriage, okay,
exactly.
you should begin to plan immediately. Exactly. I think I got that from your explanation.
So it's not that I say something like, Mary Boye, I would like you to be my wife.
Okay.
And maybe you go to pray about it, or you see the prospect of the future, you decide to marry me, and then we've been in this relation for the past 3 months. Okay. Oh, sorry, 3 years.
Okay.
And maybe we agreed at the beginning that we're going to get married in 4 years' time. And we have not been putting money aside anywhere at all, either me, yourself, and then some few months to that time. We just quickly woke up and start calling people, I want to get married. I think that's one of the ways people run weddings, that they eventually run into problems. Basically, I feel that there's no planning from the beginning, and I speak to the matter of budget, because the question we are looking at today, or the topic we are looking at today, has a lot to do with budgeting. Okay. How much do you intend to spend on your wedding?
All right. Now, thank you so much, Dr. Godwins. Now, we remember we'll be expecting your calls to make your contributions. Now, let's talk about fine, you're talking about budget, and I posted earlier, I got some reactions. I posted earlier that if you want to plan for your wedding ceremony, I don't expect you to spend more than $1,000 US. That is an equivalent of 360,000 naira. Okay, Nigeria currency. Now, and I got some reactions. Somebody made a comment and said, it's just once. This is just once in my life. I'm not going to repeat it, so I should be able to spend. Now, remember, I added also to the post that most especially when you don't have a good investment in place and you have a huge budget for a ceremony that will last for few hours, not even a whole day. Now, some other people got talking, and some of them said, now, why should you talk about $1,000, 360,000 naira? That, have you considered what they call a list? Now, if the man is going to marry the woman, just like you told me earlier, so I wanted to really share that with my friends. Now, by the time you get a list, the list of what the man will bring before he'll be able to have a legal right, you know, before they go to church. But this is like a tradition, it's obtainable everywhere in Africa. So that, what about the list? That the list should really determine a lot. That it's not really feasible to spend $1,000 US when the list, depending on where you are marrying from. So what's your reaction to that?
Well, I think the first thing I would like to say is that it may be difficult to fix a price for wedding.
All right.
It will really, we may not be able to legalize on that, or we can only advise on the fact that once you try to be prudent in spending for the wedding. I think one of the basic problems we have in Africa is what I have called this mentality of excessive display of what you don't have.
Excessive display of what you don't have. Friends, I need you to take note of some of these things. Excessive display of what you do not have. Yeah, go on,
because somebody feels that I have been to that person's wedding, I've been to that person's wedding, I've also been to that person's wedding, it was like this or like that, and they never took note of the fact that the person possibly was getting married to the person who had access to money somehow. Okay. Maybe they are peer groups or somehow, or just friends, you know. But because of what they have seen in other people's wedding, they want to replicate that in their own wedding. And that's a big problem. Now, that means that they will begin to go beyond their capacity.
Absolutely.
And that is going to affect them in the future. Let me go very practical here. It means, for instance, I am worth 500,000 naira. That's what I have. And that's what I have the capacity of generating a year. And I want to spend all the whole money on the wedding, and possibly take IOU in my place of work. Also force my wife to also take IOU in her place of work. So we are getting married on the 12th of July 2018. And we have loads of debts on our
already.
So you now see that people go into debt because they are trying to prove to people what they are not. All right, so I feel that is one of the reasons people just get themselves messed up. So in the next 2, 3, 4 months to 1 year in our wedding, we keep on paying debts.
Wow. Let me quickly say that, friends. Did you hear that? Did you hear that point? That one of the reasons why some people spend heavily on their wedding, and we have to be realistic, just like what we do on this platform, we try our best to be as realistic, truthful as possible. So now, if in African some factors in Africa, in the African setting, we have this mindset, just like Doctor said, we spend this amount because your friend spent it, because this is how it has been done, because this is, and do you know that even our parents, what can you say?
I remember my mother said she was going to move.
Okay. All right, sorry, Doctor, I got this. All right. Okay, we have our first caller here. I will just go ahead and respond to that so we hear from him.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, good evening, ma.
Good evening. How you doing?
Yes, I'm Juliana.
Okay, Juliana.
I sent a message to you. I've been trying your number all throughout the day.
All right, Juliana. Hello, good evening. Are you aware we are on a live broadcast right now?
No, I'm not aware.
All right, you all right.
Your Facebook.
Yes, everybody can hear you now, so you have to call back.
But then, do you have any program this month?
You have to call back, please. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, we lost that. All right. Yeah, I'm seeing that we are having interruption on Facebook. Sorry, guys. We are just checking this. I know people are still connected on YouTube, but I can see that we are having some interruption on the Facebook. So we'll just go ahead to fix that before we continue. All right. Okay, just a moment. So we're having this. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it's reading. Sorry, I need somebody to pass a comment on Facebook to be sure that you can actually still hear us and you're still connected. If you're on Facebook right now, please do me a favor. Can somebody pass a comment to be sure that you can still see us? From our own feedback here, we're not connected. So please, I need somebody to do that before we continue. Thank you, guys. I need someone to please pass a comment to let us know that you can still see us on Facebook. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, I'm waiting for that. If you're on YouTube, you can also help us with search. If you can still see us on Facebook before we continue, please, we need you to help us with that. Thank you, guys. You can still see us on Facebook. That's all we need to know. We can see and hear you clearly. Oh, perfect. All right. I'm happy to hear that, we got some network stuff. All right, Doctor, sorry for that. So they can confirm, they have confirmed that they can see us and they can hear us clearly. So let's just, since you can continue.
You mentioned the fact that our parents also added to, somehow they add to our this quest to display wealth. And
yeah, in Africa, I think so.
So I was going to buttress that because really,
sorry, Doctor, we just have to respond to this caller. Hello?
Ma, we can hear you clearly, ma.
Hello, good evening. How you doing?
Good evening, ma.
How you doing?
Yeah, very well, ma.
All right, thank you for calling. Are you aware we're on a live broadcast right now?
That's what I'm calling to say that we can hear you and see you clearly, ma.
Perfect. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you.
Yes,
yeah, that's on Facebook, right? On Facebook?
On Facebook, ma.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes,
thank you.
Ma.
Yeah.
We'll probably call later for a question.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We'll wait for that. Thank you.
All right.
Bless you guys. You are so wonderful. All right.
So I was saying that there is a way our parents contribute to that, and that is that sometimes because they have also been to weddings, they also feel that such should be duplicated. As a matter of fact, they want to prove to to their
friends
that their children also are making it in life. So there are times they begin to give you what you should need to do, how you shouldn't use that hole because it's not big enough, it doesn't look fine enough. And I was going to start a personal example. My mother was to move her friends to my wedding, and she was trying to, in fact, it was going to pad that into my budget. I simply said, please, if you are going to do that with your friends, you're going to move them down with a bus, please do that at your own expense. And eventually she did that because that will have entered into my budget, and then I'll begin to look for how to raise the money. The idea is that it teaches in the university, so he has access to money. And sometimes when you have access to loan, that could become a problem because we need to work against this idea of always borrowing on something that does not eventually bring you something. I need to.
Doctor, that's good. Borrowing. I got that. Got registered. Borrowing on what will not yield money back to you. Because
an adjunct to that is the fact that some people also want to run weddings like an investment. They want to take loan and then possibly look for people who will give them money back in return.
Like gifts, right?
Yeah, like gifts. But I have observed that sometimes people eat your food, they drink your water, drink your drinks and all of those things, and then at the end of the day they present a tray to you. I said they're about to start a restaurant. I understand budgeting to be something that has to do with your income and your expenditure. But my point is that, like I said earlier, we may not be able to legalize on the amount of money that should be spent, but I should draw my budget in such a way that it doesn't put me into debt. If I'm going to go into a wedding, it would be wrong for me to begin to plan on what somebody promises to give. And a lot of people,
when you've not gotten it, somebody has promised.
I said somewhere some few days ago, I said, you don't plan your life on the promise a person made to you that will send you some money.
For your wedding.
I have sent the money. It's not the same with I will send the money. So until you lay your hands on those things, you will be doing the wrong thing by planning your life on what you have not sent. But there's something you said I would like to go back to.
Okay.
Which is the place of I don't know what I
the list.
That. Yes, the list. Exactly.
Yes, the list. That is, I was saying that despite the fact that a young man's salary per month is 50,000, and I'm of the opinion that even with your 50,000, you can start with a little beginning. Now, the fact is that in the African setting, there is a list that is like another budget, totally different from the budget of you rent a hall, you go to the registry, you feed people, and this list depends on where you're coming from. All right, so
where you're marrying.
Yes, where you are marrying from exactly. All right.
Well, I must confess that some guys have not been very fortunate when it comes to the list.
That's serious.
It's a big problem. I have a friend of mine. A friend of mine we taught in the same university. He was to marry somewhere name with head, like Nigerian police will say.
Okay.
And he was invited to come to the place and witness an ongoing wedding ceremony. Okay. For the first time.
He was invited by the family.
By the family
of the
intending wife.
Intending wife. So, to see this is how we do
witness
it. Okay.
An ongoing wedding.
That sounds funny.
So he said at the point of the traditional wedding, for the first time in his life, he saw where they were using tape rule to measure a goat. Okay, if the goat does not measure up,
let me see the reactions of guys here. Are you serious?
If the goat does not measure up to the specific specification in the tape rule, if, for example, they expect the goat to be, let's say, 15 inches, hypothetically, and the goat is 10, they have to return the goat to the guy to go and bring the goat that is 15 inches. Now, you see, the problem there is that our culture has developed or evolved in such a way that it does not even encourage people that want to do small wedding.
Exactly my point.
So they really want to talk.
Yes, yeah, doctor, sorry. The culture, unfortunately, has pushed us to that level that it's even difficult now to run a wedding ceremony on a very low budget.
That's true.
That is
Now,
serious.
Again, some of us, I happen to have been fortunate enough to marry from where I didn't need to have such a list where they go to be measured. In fact, one adjunct thing to that thing again was the fact that the guy said that the yam they brought for that traditional wedding, they had to also measure the yam, and that was against the knee of the head of the family. So, and if the head of the family happens to be a tall person from the leg region, you know what that means for the young man.
You need a taller tube of yam.
So the point is, I feel that culture is affecting the way people marry early and marry late. Me, I also got the list when I was to get married.
Okay.
And one fortunate thing was that my in-laws, the list was brought from the extended part of the family,
Okay.
but my in-laws were able to also say no, this one, no, that one, no. So they were able to reduce.
So,
the
which that means that in some places in your country, they could reconsider the list.
Yeah,
right?
the list for me is not a stereotype or what I call a rigid list. That is not. It's not a kind of a rigid.
That's considering where you came from.
Yeah,
in some places, because I have been told by research that in some places you just have to do it exactly what
it is. I agree. Okay. I agree. But again, the example of my friend I was citing the other time, he had to talk to the wife, to talk to the family, and he said, according to him, that please remember to tell them that when you get home, you'll be eating. So if I spend all the money I have in taking care of this your family, buying clothes for everybody, and buying buy the things in the list in the rigid constitution. Okay, so eventually you get home, we have nothing to eat. So, and the lady went back to the family and started weeping on them. And well, eventually the guy told me that he bought almost everything, even to firewood, to salt. I feel that with the advent of modernism, the way the world is going now, people becoming more enlightened. Culture in some places have been perforated. Culture is still very strong in some places. But for some people are fortunate enough to have been able to amend the culture in regards to the list. Okay. And I don't know, but I may likely want to say that if you happen to come from a place where you have a rigid wedding list, you may need to begin to prepare your family for the need to amend the constitution. Now,
what if is a part of the nation or a family? Now, let us be family specific now. A family where they are so rigid that they don't want to change this. What do you advise guys like that to do with their income, with such percentage of income? You see, and they are in love.
You see, I must confess to you that if you take a sample, there are marriages or weddings that never held because
as a result of this.
It's as simple as that. Because the guy says like, where am I going to get the money for all of this? You better tell your people to water down this list. And they say, if you can't afford to buy all of these things, therefore, maybe you are not worthy to be our in-law. Especially for a family where their eyes are on their girls as an investment. And of course, there are places like that. These are practical issues in Africa, and a lot of people are suffering from this. My advice, like I usually say, one may not be able to legislate, but my advice is that the man and the woman, in other words, the man who is going to take the woman from where there is the list, may need to really do a lot of personal contact with the lady, and the lady tries to do personal contact with her family. And explain situations to them. But the truth is, with the advent of the way our economy has become today, I feel strongly that some families will feel that if you cannot afford this now, what is the assurance that we have that you're going to take care of
their
daughter.
daughter. Yeah, I think with that, I can't accept that as like a yardstick to determine whether the young man will take care of their daughter.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Agreed.
So now, but at times it's as if there's nothing we can do about it, because these are the opinions these people hold. Okay. Now, apart from a list, there are some things that also determine what the man should bring. If you are fortunate, I won't say unfortunate, if you are fortunate that the lady you're getting married to in some part of Africa is educated, that will even add to your list. And now, and you see some young men struggling, okay, to meet up with all this. And in the end, you know, I was telling you, Dr. Godwin, I said I heard a story of a young man that all this list, things were imposed on him, and they were not going to move. He did it. He went extra miles. He did all those things. Do you know? Immediately he took his wife home. He banned every member of the family of this lady from entering his home.
Well, sincerely, I would say it's expected. Because if I'm going to marry a woman that I really love, and you've milked me, and eventually I got the woman. As a matter of fact, because of the love I have for the lady, I may need to do everything within my power to ensure that I just get her out of your hands. But as soon as she steps into my house, the possibility of you ever being in need of my help and me responding to you has ended. I may need to tell you again and again that, ma, I have paid everything that I needed to pay. In fact, all the things I would have done for you, that day that I was prostrating or kneeling down, or
I did that.
I've actually spent everything on you that day. It's because some of these our fathers, these cultural people that we have, do not think about the future. It's been there with them for a long time.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that's so difficult to resist, it's culture. It's what people are used to, the belief system, the norms of the people. Okay, so it becomes extremely very difficult for people to break away from culture because they feel that this is the way
it should be done.
Now, something that jumped to my mind now was when my friend was going to have that wedding, and she sent the wife to the family just to remind them as if they didn't know that when you get into my house, you're going to be eaten.
Yeah.
I was shocked to find out that one of the feedbacks was the fact that is the way it's been done, and as a matter of fact, we cannot break it. And importantly, an important fact there is the fact that we will not only be affecting ourselves. This thing is not, okay, this is what I'm saying. This thing is not about our family. That is the point. It's not about our immediate family. It's about the families, the extended family. And we cannot break this. Therefore, there is no way we can water down this for you. So I therefore feel that it is extensive. It's big.
All right. Now, how can we help people budget based on what they have, despite all this? Now, the guy that is earning 50,000 naira per month and is going to be getting married to a lady where in the family they are so rigid with the list. What do you advise such people?
Please, may I just implore us to do it one thing that's so important first. It's actually the cruise of the discourse, which is how much do you intend to?
How much do you intend to spend? Yeah.
Because somebody can hide under the culture.
Under the culture.
I said because the reason I'm trying to look for 1 million naira now is because of what they asked me to bring.
All right.
They haven't even asked. They've not even asked him to bring it.
Okay.
But he's saying that I need a lot of money to do wedding.
Okay.
Let's deal with what you posted, which is addressing the excesses of people.
Very important.
Yeah, I feel that if we successfully go through that, we may now begin to do it, how to do with the culture.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I feel that, like you rightly said, I think people should be moderate in budgeting for their wedding. Think about the fact that of course, your budget, like I said, as we started the discussion, that the budget should be within what you can carry.
So, doctor, which means if I earn 5 million per month,
yes,
okay, and of course, by nature,
yeah,
I should be able to spend for my wedding, as in I can afford it. So, what do you say about that?
the truth of the matter is, when you told me about your position, I said I may not take it. Why? For example, if that is I'm talking about the range of $1,000.
Okay.
That if I am worth 20 million, I am going to use the money or do my wedding in such a way that my worth can carry it, but I must not go into debt.
All right. I think I support that seriously. So take note of that. Now, that post basically addresses those that are on or still on low income.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's still the people that are still on low income, and they want to do things like the people that are earning big. It doesn't make sense. It's not a wise decision. In fact, some of these people, because of their wedding preparation, some of them will be so fortunate that they have gifts of cash. A lot of it. And do you know, some of them are so careless that they push them into the ceremony.
Yeah.
Okay, because if you're fortunate to have the support of some people, friends, family, I don't encourage you to begin to ask people for it. Doesn't make sense at all. So, but if you're fortunate that people choose to support you financially, and then you come, you say, can you take this 100,000 naira? Okay, and I say, okay, it was a gift for my wedding, I push it into it. Another person 10,000, I push it, and I burn everything and no investment. And at the end of the day, I still go back to my 50,000 per month. You know my point.
Yeah, I sincerely, I would like to give a very practical example. The person was planning the wedding, and somebody had mercy on him because he was jobless. He had no job, and the wife. So somebody had mercy on him.
Oh, both of them had no job?
Had no job.
And they were going to
get married. Well, I wouldn't say out of faith, because I could not even ascertain their spirituality.
Okay.
But, well, let me say that not absolutely not having a job, but being at the lower ebb of being employed or not being employed.
Okay.
Now, somebody gave them 500,000.
Wow.
It will interest you to know that
Naira, $500,000 naira, yeah.
That after the wedding, the woman was back to, it was in the days of all this, well, there's no advert for that, so I won't mention name. These telecommunication companies, making phone calls by the phone booths.
Okay.
The wife, after the wedding, the wife went back to that business, making phone calls.
So what happened to the 500,000?
Gone on the wedding. Because it was tagged with the wedding, they were not sensitive enough. Let me use the word. They were financially insane. Because there are people, once money enters into their hands, what they are thinking about is, what do I buy? How do I spend it? And in fairness, that is what makes the difference between a person with a wealthy mentality and a person with a poverty mentality. A rich man gets money, he thinks of how to make it multiply. A poor man gets money, thinks of what to buy. How do I impress people? So they plumbed the 500,000 into
the ceremony. The ceremony.
They were back to square one, so to say.
Okay.
That was why. Okay, let me say this hypothetically. For example, I'm planning a wedding. I meet you, very Boye, please. I need some money.
Okay.
And maybe initially my budget in my paper was 8,000 worth of clothes for myself. Okay. 3,000 worth of shoes for myself. I looked at me and said, Dr. Doris, I'm going to do something for your wedding, and then suddenly you slumped 100,000 on me. One of the few things some people will do is to jack up their budget for the clothes.
So it swallows the money.
It keeps on going into it. I feel that one of the things we need to deal with in this matter, it also has to do with the value for money, the mentality to grow wealth, not just spending money. So basically, budget within the scope of your income. So that at the end of the wedding, you don't get home and begin to think of what to eat. Let me just share this personal example, experience. When I was planning my wedding, I must confess to you, I was thinking about how to make money for my wedding. So I published a book that was launched during my wedding. I got a very good speaker who talked about the book, who had a skill. I'm sorry, I was selling something. So I made some money from the book. I made some money.
During the ceremony?
Yes. And I'm sorry, I just said it very clearly. You can't eat my food and go away. And then give me a tray and possibly give me a broom as if I'm is it Loma or last or this one that I cleared the road in Lagos. So I felt that if you are coming to my wedding, I'm not just going to be adding value to you by what you eat and taking my book. I also got money from you.
Okay.
The book was done in such a way that I'm not saying you should do that. If you are not,
you're just sharing that from my experience. Yeah.
So that I'm just trying to say that it shouldn't just be about spending. You should think about the day the wedding ends, and then you have to go back to the house. Sincerely, as myself and my wife went for honeymoon, we still had money. I didn't have to pay anybody after wedding.
And nobody was running after you
and
for
I didn't borrow money.
So take note of that. Don't borrow money for your wedding. You should make do with what you have. You might want to talk to a counselor who will advise you based on what you have. Now, if people choose to assist you, to support you, fantastic, all right. But just like Dr. Godwin said, look at that young man. Somebody blessed him with 500,000 naira, and he pushed everything into the wedding, and that was it. If I were him, do you know what I would do? I'm going to just sincerely, Dr. What I would do if I got that 500, as the man, keep 400 and use 100,000. Okay, now do you know what do we do that actually swallows money during the ceremony? Can we talk about that, doctor? What exactly do people do, okay, that actually swallows money? Fine, they buy their attires, the wedding gown, the suit, and all those things. Okay, now apart from that, in this budget now, your house rent is not included. We want to assume that you already have an apartment.
Yeah.
We're just talking about the ceremony. Okay, so what do people do with the ceremony? Can we just itemize it? It's unfortunate I can't get. Okay, I can get you on Facebook, but it's heavily delayed. So, okay. Somebody says we should mention the state where they were measuring yam. All right, so it's delayed. It's delayed, so I'm not getting the update. If not, I would have been reading people's reactions out. Sorry for that, but I want to believe you're getting something from this broadcast, and I'm very sure the Holy Spirit will enlighten our minds. If there is any worry I have concerning Africans, is our mindset. Okay, I'm not saying we should imitate the whites, okay, but a white man can just bring out a $500 and they call one or two friends, and call the priest or go to the registry, and you'll be wedded, because how much you spend doesn't really determine what happens in the marriage. No, it's just the ceremonial part of it. All right, now what do people spend money on? That consumes thousands and millions. All right, can we name them? You please, guys, we've not received your calls. We're expecting your calls, all right, to make your contributions.
Well, let me say that I will use a concept: eliminate the crowd.
Eliminate the crowd. Take note of that, everyone. Eliminate the crowd.
Because there are people who just delight in that. My wedding day, oh my God, the place was filled up with people. And they eat, and they just come and eat your food and all of that. Eliminate the crowd. What I mean, let me further push that. A friend of mine was getting married some time ago, and he deliberately put the wedding on a Thursday.
On a Thursday, people do that a lot nowadays.
Just eliminate the crowd, because some people are not necessary for the wedding. All right, you have mentioned something apart from the attires people buy, which of course may not be too expensive.
Yes.
If you have not gone for an expensive attire, then we should have to look out for other things that may want to take money out of your hand.
Because even now, the guy can, if the guy gets a suit for himself, he can actually still use it after the wedding. Yeah. Unlike the wedding gown. Yeah. So imagine you're spending like 200,000 on your wedding gown alone, and you'll be using it for just few hours. I don't think that is wise.
Now, lecturer in the university that I was at the time I was getting married, my suit cost, I think, about 8,000 naira.
Your suit?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and that was
fantastic.
2012.
Okay.
Was it that I couldn't afford something bigger than that? I could buy a suit of
35,000.
even 10, or even 100,000 naira without budging an eye. But I just knew that I wouldn't want to do the wedding. At the end of the day, I have a regret because I spent so much money on attires. I can't remember the amount of money for my wife's wedding gown, but the person who was an expert decided to sew, and of course we paid. The cake and all of that were taken care of. We paid for all of this.
Okay.
I remember there was a time they were planning. I was called. I won't mention who called, but part of our family members planning for the wedding, and they were trying to smuggle an item into the things that people will drink. And that was going to cost me extra money. I simply asked them to eliminate that thing they wanted to smuggle in. If I cannot afford to have bottled water for everybody, I will go for sachet water for majority of the people. They drink my water, they go to toilets, ease themselves, or restroom, ease themselves.
I hope our friends are not going to be okay. Somebody is saying here, concept number 1, eliminate the crowds. All right, thank you so much, Prince. People are responding. Yeah.
So
okay.
I feel that if where was I? I was talking about
yes, if you not bottled
smuggle,
water,
yeah,
and you should go for sachet water.
Sincerely, and I had to have an eye-to-eye confrontation with them, not a fight. Of course, I was somewhat. I needed to go, and I had to defend my budget.
All right. Because
you need to do that. If not, some people suggest things into your budget. And I simply said to them, this is not part of what I budgeted for.
All right.
And what they were asking me to buy in was good. At least if that is served, of course not alcoholic drink anyway. If that is served in the midst of
it can add some prestige.
Then my shoulders go up during the wedding and they come down when I'm done.
And you suffer in silence. All right. So eliminate the crowd. So all right. Do we have any other points?
Well, I have actually mentioned about, just I didn't put that as a concept, which is that avoid what I said we were trying to smuggle in.
Okay.
What I could possibly refer to as the unessential.
The unessential. Take that as your number 2. Now you are eliminating the crowd. We want to make do with what we have. We don't want to go above our budget. We want to be within our budget. And your budget, remember, doctor said your budget is within what you earn, not what people have promised to give you. So don't place any budget on what people has given us promises. I'll give you this, I'll give you that. What if it fails? It can be embarrassing. So now eliminate the crowd and avoid the unnecessary. Okay, such as
I may not be able to mention specifically.
Okay.
But I have actually alluded to something that was supposed to be brought in.
All right.
It could be anything.
Okay.
Well, the other time I talked about the fact that my mother wanted to bring in her people and wanted
to hire a bus to bring in her friends from another state. Is that from another state?
Yes.
You said that that was going to be huge. You hire a bus.
She could afford that herself. So
all right.
Put that as part of her budget.
So avoid the unnecessary. So you got that off.
So I was going to say, importantly, we have repeated the issue of budget.
Okay.
Very
important.
Very serious.
Okay.
And we alluded to something the other time. Who is qualified to marry? Because I was given an example of a person who was going to get married, and then somebody gave you 500,000 naira, and then and we talked about the fact that maybe the person was not working. But a question is on my mind. One of the things I've seen with people these days is that they are even planning to get married, and yet they don't have something to fall on, a source of income that comes in regularly. So there's no even
no matter how small.
No matter how small.
It's irregular. We say that here all the time, Yasha.
So no budget, because there's no there's no source of income.
All right. So we have another caller. Sorry, doctor. Just let's respond to that. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you.
I'm very so
I've been following.
Okay.
I've been following the conversation.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I just quickly want to keep you on the 2.
All right, so